Shalom, good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcast to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, the IDF maintains a heightened state of alert in both defense and on offense, while Iran remains committed to striking Israel. Jerusalem urges Paris and London, as well as Washington, to join Israel in striking Iran in response to any Iranian attack against Israeli territory. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas blames the United States for the failure of achieving Palestinian statehood. At the backdrop of daily threats by Iran and its proxies throughout the region, including Hezbollah and Lebanon in particular, to launch a severe attack against Israel, negotiations aimed at reaching a temporary ceasefire in exchange for the release of hostages in Hamas captivity are taking place in Qatar. Negotiations began yesterday afternoon, after which negotiators expressed guarded optimism about the first day of talks, and the Israeli delegation made a last-minute decision to spend the night in the Qatari capital of Doha in order to continue their negotiations today. And while a Western negotiator labeled the ongoing talks as productive, major disagreements remain regarding Hamas's demand for a permanent ceasefire and the mechanism for moving from a stage 1 to stage 2 within the arrangement. Hamas and Israel also disagree on other issues such as the Philadelphia corridor, the Rafah crossing, the return of residents to the northern Gaza Strip, among other key issues. Meanwhile, IDF Chief of General Staff Lieutenant General Herzi Halevi visited new recruits of the Paratroopers Brigade, during the course of which he emphasized that Israel will not let Hamas regain control of the Gaza Strip.
חטיבת הצנחנים נלחמת ברצועת עזה כדי לפרק את ארגון חמאס. זה אומר להרוג את המפקדים שלו, לפגוע ולהרוג כמה שיותר פעילים שלו ולהשמיד את התשתיות של חמאס ברצועת עזה. כי אחרי מה שקרה ב7 באוקטובר, אנחנו לא מוכנים שתהיה הנוכחות הזו והיכולת הזו של חמאס ברצועת עזה, ואנחנו מאוד מאוד נחושים בזכות זה שיש לנו גם מתגייסים קדימה, מאוד ערכיים, מאוד חזקים, מאוד נחושים, נדע להתמיד.
In a televised statement by IDF spokesman Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari, it was announced that the IDF has thus far eliminated over 17,000 terror operatives belonging to the Islamist Hamas organization in the Gaza Strip.
כוחות צה"ל ממשיכים להילחם בעזה, מתמרנים ברפיח, ח'אן יונס, מרכז הרצועה ותוקפים בכל מקום. עד כה חיסלנו למעלה מ-17,000 מחבלים. כחלק מההישגים המשמעותיים בשטח, בשבוע האחרון השמדנו כ-50 תוואים תת-קרקעיים במרחב ציר פילדלפי. אנחנו ממוקדים באיתור, ניטרול והשמדה של התשתיות התת-קרקעיות במרחב. לא כולן מנהרות פעילות, חלקן ישנות מאוד שטופלו כבר בעבר. ובכל זאת, אנחנו מנטרלים את כולן בנחישות.
In parallel to raging battles in the Gaza Strip, the IDF, in cooperation with the ISA as well as Border Police Special Operators, conducted this week counter-terror operations throughout the West Bank districts of Judea, Samaria, and the Jordan Valley.
בפיקוד המרכז, כוחות צה"ל עצרו בשבוע האחרון כ-50 מבוקשים ברחבי יהודה ושומרון. הגברנו את הפעילות של הסיכול במרחב, בדגש על איום המטענים. במבצע משותף של צה"ל ושב"כ בבקעת הירדן, הכוחות חיסלו פעיל טרור מרכזי בחילופי אש ו4 נוספים בתקיפה מהאוויר. בנוסף, הכוחות מצאו מטענים והחרימו אמצעי לחימה רבים.
Admiral Hagari further addressed unceasing peak preparedness to confront Hezbollah and Iran, while stressing that there are no new guidelines for the Israeli public.
בשלב זה אין שינוי במדיניות ההתגוננות של פיקוד העורף. אם יהיה שינוי, נעדכן באופן מיידי. אנחנו נמצאים עם היד על הדופק כל הזמן. הדריכות והערנות של הציבור חשובים, ותמשיכו לעקוב אחר ההנחיות בפלטפורמות הרשמיות של דובר צה"ל ופיקוד העורף.
It is important to know that French Foreign Minister Stéphane Séjourné and British Foreign Secretary of State David Lammy visited Israel today during the course of which Foreign Minister Israel Katz initially thanked them for their steadfast support for Israel, while further stressing that the right way to deter Iran and prevent war is by announcing that if Iran attacks, they will stand with Israel not only in defense but also in striking targets within Iran. Jerusalem's top diplomat went on to assert that Iran is the head of the axis of evil and the free world must stop it now before it's too late. Prior to visiting Israel, Paris's top diplomat Seuraa met with Lebanese officials in Beirut, after the course of which he reaffirmed France's support for Lebanon.
Message très simple de ma part, d'abord le soutien de la France au Liban dans ce moment où nous sommes tous préoccupés de la situation régionale. Message très simple également de désescalade, message adressé ici aux autorités libanaises évidemment, qui seront adressés également à un certain nombre d'autres pays dans la région.
Lebanese caretaker Foreign Minister Abdullah Abu Habib, for his part, thanked his French counterpart for Paris's decision to resume flights to Beirut.
زيارته للبنان هيدي بتطمنا كثير، وخاصة انه خبرنا انه شركتي طيران فرنسية رح تبلش ترجع على لبنان. من اول طيران لهم رح يكونوا اما الليلة او بكره الصبح بلبنان.
Abu Habib went on to stress his hope that negotiations between Hamas and Israel and Qatar would ultimately bear fruit. Meanwhile, in Washington, Pentagon Deputy Press Secretary Sabrina Singh pointed to the successful U.S.-led operation against Iran's blatant attack against Israel back in April 13 and 14 earlier this year.
I actually think you should take a step back and realize what we did accomplish on April 13th. Yes, Iran did attack Israel in an unprecedented manner, but I'll remind you that on that day, we shot out of the sky 90% of what they threw at Israel. And that was an incredibly intricate operation with the Israeli military, our military, and our partners and allies in the region. So while you can focus on the fact that Iran did launch that attack, I think it's incredibly important to remember what U.S. forces did that day and the fact that we will stand with Israel again and have said that very publicly and privately.
The Pentagon's Deputy Press Secretary went on to reiterate Washington's message to Tehran and its accommodating posture throughout the CENTCOM area of responsibility.
I don't think we've actually been delicate in our messaging to Iran. We've been very clear that if Israel is attacked, we will come to the defense of Israel. You saw us do that on April 13th. I'm kind of paraphrasing what you're saying there. We will do that again. Should Israel be attacked, we absolutely will come to Israel's defense.
In other news, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas concluded a two-leg trip to both Russia and Turkey, during the course of which he displayed an anti-Western position on all that relates to the so-called Palestinian cause. During the first part of his trip, Abbas met with Russian President Vladimir Putin, during the course of which Moscow reiterated its steadfast position vis-à-vis the Palestinians, while Mahmoud Abbas seized the opportunity to blame the United States for his failure to achieve statehood.
Наша позиция здесь является неизменной, она сформулирована давно и не носит какого-то конъюнктурного характера. Мы полагаем, что для того, чтобы обеспечить длительный, надежный, стабильный мир в регионе, нужно выполнить все решения Организации Объединенных Наций и прежде всего создать полноценное палестинское государство.
بسبب أمريكا، بسبب الضغط الأمريكي، بسبب الموقف الأمريكي فشلت في أن تعطينا قرارا واحدا لينفذ بحق الشعب الفلسطيني.
Following his trip to Moscow, the Palestinian leader traveled to Ankara, where he met with Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, after which he made a lengthy address to Turkey's parliament, as part of which he pledged that the Palestinian Authority would seize control of the Gaza Strip and reaffirmed his commitment to establish a national unity authority between Fatah and Hamas.
وسوف أعمل بكل طاقتي لكي نكون جميعا مع شعبنا لوقف هذا العدوان الهمجي حتى لو كلفنا ذلك حياتنا. فليست حياتنا بأغلى من حياة أصغر طفل من قطاع غزة أو من الشعب الفلسطيني. إحنا مش أغلى. ونحن نطبق أحكام الشريعة، النصر أو الشهادة، النصر أو الشهادة.
Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News. It is important for us to initially highlight that TV7 Israel is a 100% donation-based non-profit ministry with all of our productions available free of charge. Therefore, if you're blessed by our productions and would like to help support producing programs just like TV7 Israel News, Jerusalem Studio, Deep Dive, and so much more, we would deeply appreciate it if you'd consider making a donation. You can do so via our website at www.tv7israelnews.com. Separately, I'd like to personally thank all of you at home who do support TV7 Israel, both on an intermittent basis or regularly. Your donations make programs just like this one possible. Last but not least, I'd like to encourage you, pray for the peace of Jerusalem and salvation of Israel. I'm Jonathan Hessen, wishing you an Erev Mevorach veBatuach, and God willing, we'll see you during our upcoming TV7 Israel News updates. Until then, Shalom from Jerusalem.